What is up, nerds? It's me, your buddy Paul Hay Archer. Welcome back to Nerd Affiliated. This clip here, this is a fun one. I had the pleasure, the honor of being on the brand show over at A Bunch of Nerds. Shout out Billy Nichols and shout out Chris Small. They had the OG, the original April O'Neil, Renae Jacobs in the house to talk Turtles, to talk the old show, talk about her favorite moments, all that kind of stuff. So I had the pleasure of being on the show. The full episode will be over at A Bunch of Nerds on YouTube. You can go back to their Twitch and watch it. But I wanted to share a clip here of that episode. We talk a little bit about the tone of the show, how going into that cartoon, it's a way different tone than the comic books at that point, and extremely different than the movie. So I was just curious to see what her thoughts were on all of that. She traditionally likes to do more of the younger kid type shows. So good conversation. Listen to the whole episode if you can. Here's a clip. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in, for watching. Leave your thoughts down below. And why not down below, obviously, who is your favorite turtle? We do ask it on the show, but who is your favorite turtle? See ya.
I'm just still a big shellhead. I'm basically Zach. I'm the fifth turtle. But moving on, Steve, please.
Well, I was going to say, because I know earlier you mentioned about they were at a certain point, they're like, all right, we want to do more darker this season. We want to go with a heavier type storyline. So once you reading for that part, like at some point, do you leave to say, oh, I'm going to do some research and then see those comics that they're making and go, whoa, I didn't sign up for, the villain dying in the first, book or anything like that.
Or anything that pays.
We need an applause button for that one.
Wait, do I have an applause button for that? Wait, here, hold on. We'll just hallelujah. There we go. That works. I mean, voice acting, it can be a crapshoot, Steve. I mean, literally, I read for a bunch of roles. One day I was reading for a role in Mother Goose. The next day I was Samuel Prescott in a historical game. Bloody hell, evening, gents. It's whatever pays. That paid me turkey tips, and I was poor at the time, and I needed to eat. So, well, it happens.
Honestly, obviously, I would never record something I thought was offensive or inappropriate or would regret. But Turtles wasn't like that. And there was no way, there was nothing in Turtles. No, so the question had to do with, did I read the script? Did I read the comic book? And did I think it was too dark or too nasty or whatever? Mm-hmm. And the fact is that no, I never read the comic book. And in terms of when they said they wanted it darker, what would happen was they would start the season and the producers and whoever the bigwigs were would be in the booth behind the glass. We'd get our lecture, and the first episode or two would be more serious. Mm. And after they left, the guys would start ad-libbing again. And quite a few of them would get into, the pizza, the things on the pizza, and things that Pat Fraley would do to Krang. They wanted Krang to be more sinister, right?
Oh, Krang was sinister as was.
Yeah, well, and he would throw in something about anchovies, or I don't know. He would throw in these things, and they were so funny that eventually they'd get stuck. They'd stay. Mm. So, I know the last few seasons, they call them the Red Sky seasons. They were more serious, ish. But whenever the guys could throw the sand around in the sandbox, they did it. Yeah. And we were having a hoot. And honestly, isn't there enough bad stuff in the world? We have to be you know, throwing darkness at kids. I mean, we hear all the time at Comic-Cons, you know, if not for the Ninja Turtles, I don't know if I'd be alive. If not for the Ninja Turtles, I don't know how I would have survived school. I was bullied. I was abused. I was a foster kid, and I would come home, and Ninja Turtles were my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, we're hearing this, you know, many, many years later, but we had a sense of wanting to be that family, and a little silly, but still, you know, crime fighters and honorable, and you know, that turtles fight with honor. That was the essence of what I think why Turtles was so successful. I think if it had been sinister and dark, and I don't know, if it's crazy how this series affected. I mean, look at you guys. You're in your basements with toy collections, you know,
wearing a t-shirt of the game.
Right.
It's in the background.
And it's in the background, but it's funny that you say that. You know, we talked before we brought you, and we were talking about Jason David Frank, who just passed away. Jason was a very good friend of mine, and it just, I'm like, I say, like you said, you know, we were kids, we were bullied, we were abused, we were this, we were that. Like, I don't have the best upbringing. I don't think any of us do. And I think I speak on behalf of a lot of my community. Same thing, you know, like 3 o'clock came around, Power Rangers was on, or Ninja Turtles was on, or Masters of the Universe was on. And we talked about this offline. I just went through a 2-year bout with colon cancer. You know, when Kevin Smith got on stage at San Diego Comic-Con in July of 21, and I was sitting in chemo, iPad in hand, just listening to him, and he goes, "Guys, I have great news. I'm bringing back Masters of the Universe." Brings you back as a kid. But also to add to the point of Krang, so you've never seen what Krang was in the comic books, then I'm assuming. You've never seen what an Ultron is. So this is what Krang looked like in the comic book. This is Ultron. This is Krang's comic book form. So your point of sinister and dark and everything like that, April worked for a corporation in the comic book called TGRI. TGRI was a shell corporation that was owned by the alien race, the Ultrons. Ultrons came to Earth and disguised themselves as people. I think the storyline, like as an adult and as someone who kind of tested the waters of writing a comic book, I think it's great for an adult theme. But Krang being a bumbling brain when I was a kid was fantastic. But I look back at like some of the memories I have and some of the stupid shit I say on a day-to-day basis. Like you were talking about lines with the pizza. All I can think of is the end of episode 1 where I remember you just deliver this quippy line. You just go, "Hey guys, pass me a slice of the Cocoa Puffs and anchovies." And every time I hear that line, I fall on the floor laughing. It is the funniest thing in the world to me next to. And we were going to start this episode out where we all just spouted off something about Ninja Alley, where they go to Ninja Pizza and they find the Ninja dry cleaning and the Ninja washing machine repair. I think some of that wispy, silly stuff is what the charm of Ninja Turtles was so perfect.
Yeah, I feel the same way, and not to jump in on
Go ahead,
Billy.
Smalls, please. You're talking. I love this. He never talks.
That is a lie, and you know it.
No, it's not.
No, but like you were saying, you know, sort of the charm of it, you know, if it was more akin to the comic books, I feel like it kind of would have just gone like under the radar almost.
Yeah.
You know, sort of the campiness, you know, Saturday morning cartoon aesthetic of it is what set it apart from, you know, later on your Batman Beyonds, your darker cartoons and stuff like that. It kind of was its own. It kind of existed in a vacuum that everyone was able to get into.
Exactly.
What's interesting is that when we would say what we were working on, parents were scared.
Yeah, the name is kind of like
I mean, they changed their name to Hero Turtles in
Europe.
In Europe, it was Hero Turtles, and it's funny. Our first episode of this show, we had Kevin Monroe on, who directed and wrote the 2007 Ninja Turtle series, and he, you know, to get back to this, his whole idea was you know, paying homage to the original and keeping that charming nature about it. And I think again that's what really worked about the show. So it was something that we were all, really, really on board with.
On the other hand, it's very interesting, all the iterations. The movies are dark. Some of them are silly, some are very dark. But there's something for everyone.
Yeah.
Which is great, because it just keeps the franchise going, if you want to say. It's great. And we get to see, dads with their kids, and they're enjoying it, and different, which one do you like better? And
everyone's got a favorite.
Yeah, mine's the best. But,
you know what? I can't deny it. The 87 series, it's home. It will always be home. It will always be my first love. That and He-Man, as you can see behind me, is my before my wife, before I even knew who she was. This was what made me whole.
Oh.
And to this day, still does.
Was Cam Clark on He-Man?
Cam Clark was He-Man in the 2000 series, actually. Yes. Such a surprise when I first heard the first episode, and he picks up and he goes, "By the power of great." I'm like, is that Leonardo? And yeah, he was in the 2000 series, and he's one of the reasons that show was again, just special people across the board on this show.